We will seek you, find you. 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 We will seek you, find you.
If there are any among this people who should ever apostatize, prepare your backs for a good whipping.
We will seek you, find you.
So plain and precious. Finally, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of
Emmanuel.
just as the arch crumbles if the keystone is removed, so does all the church fall with the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The enemies of the church understand this clearly.
That book which oppresses you must be burned, or you will incur the most serious displeasure.
I repeat, I will not burn the book.
the Church of Jesus Christ.
It is a fraud.
The enemies of the church understand this clearly, so plain and precious.
We declare without equivocation that God the Father and his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, appeared in person to the boy Joseph Smith. Our whole strength rests on the validity of that vision. It either occurred or it did not occur. If it did not, then this work is a fraud.
That restoration began 200 years ago this spring when God the Father and his Son Jesus Christ appeared to the young Joseph Smith.
One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming.
We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation. But we do say there is no promise of safety and no promise of security except for those who love the Lord and who are seeking to do all that he commands. It may be, for instance, that nothing except the power of faith and the authority of the priesthood can save individuals and congregations from the atomic holocausts that surely shall be. And so we raise the warning voice and say, take heed, prepare, watch, and be ready. There is no security in any course except the course of obedience and conformity and righteousness.
I have faith that the Constitution will be saved as prophesied by Joseph Smith. But it will not be saved in Washington. But it will not be saved in Washington.
However, Mormon extremists disregarded federal warnings and established Port Joe Smith.
Damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Travis Wayne Goodsall. So, I need to get rid of the video notes on Mount Olympus that's about to blow so that I can clear off some of the papers here. And then we'll resume the Jasmine memes for you. I noticed that when I was checking the comments held for review, because there are haters and deniers and bad people out there who want to use my channel to spread their misinformation, not just threaten to murder me for exposing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And one particular guy did not use his actual picture and did not use his channel or his name for his channel name, but he doesn't do any videos, but he does have playlists of collections of things. And not only is he Mormon, even though he has nothing about Mormonism, he was very concerned about Trump being impeached. He's got a whole playlist about Fox News' coverage of it. This is how Mormons have been fooled. The Book of Mormon is not Christian. 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 2. That's to help the reader know how to correctly interpret the rest of the book in the learning of the Jews, which is Jewish, not Christian. Real simple. And yet, Brigham Young claimed Joseph Smith reversed it all in 1838, but then forgot that he had reversed it all in 1838 when he got out of Liberty Jail, because he didn't follow any of this afterwards. And so thus he was murdered. And so this means that anything in the first creed of Christianity, you know, the creation of Christianity, with the first creed of Christianity, which was 325 CE. Next year is the 1700th anniversary. I wonder if Catholics, Christians are going to be celebrating this. Are you guys? Did you even know about this? Why is it me that has to bring this up for you? And so everything in there was created, never existed previously, was created with that first creed. And so they stole the Jewish scriptures and replaced them with the first creed of Christianity. And so instead of being prophecy and revelation about the Jewish Christ in the latter days, it's now about a failed Christ named Jesus who gets a second chance. And so, yeah, the Book of Mormon, therefore, likewise, that's what it means. That's why they plagiarize the Bible. And so that you don't use Christian interpretation. That's why they have 2 Nephi 29. A Bible, we have a Bible, we need no more Bible. You got the Bible from the Jews, what the hell? And so, yeah, that's why they're plagiarizing the Bible. And so that you understand that the Bible was usurped also by Christianity. And so if you're going to pull it on the Book of Mormon, it's going to backfire and blow up in your face. Cows in America? What? You're really going to rewrite history and deny science archaeological expeditions to push the Book of Mormon as literal history, even when it says it's the learning of the Jews. And so, yeah, Mormons have no clue what it means to have John's Revelation, chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5, right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, that is supposed to be understood in the learning of the Jews, not Christian interpretation of the first creed of Christianity. And so it's not Zedekiah in the first year. And there that guy was, all panicked and freaked out that my video is going to overthrow the church. Oh, he was desperately trying to come up with any fallacy he could to prove the church true in a panic. No, church is true, church is true, church is true, church is true. No, you lie. No, it's the LDS church. We don't do it. You've not even been to the temple? I mean, he didn't go to the right video. I did a separate video for that, but still. He has to pay tithing, section 119. And so, because you have to pay tithing, you then are permitted to go to the temple. And you can only get married in the temple. So you have to pay to get married in the temple. And what's that called? There's a certain trial by a certain King Zedekiah in the first year who paid a porn star. The Book of Mormon is awesome, Exfo Nevermos. Oh my God. And you're stuck on proving the church false by continuing their own claim that it's Christian. There are greater bombshells with it as Jewish. Oh my God. See, that's why SNL's skit this morning, which was last night, was even more hilarious because it was their final episode, and Colin and Michael, they always have the tradition of switching up each other's jokes for the final episode. And so Michael Che humiliated Colin by bringing in a Jewish rabbi. A female Jewish rabbi. And thus it made the jokes more hilarious. Oh, it was awesome. And so there's a couple of scriptures that you need to understand. This is not Christian. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 6. And so, Bruce R. McConkie deceives you in the chapter heading. The Jews shall gain forgiveness at the second coming. But it's not literal history, Bruce. They shall ask Jesus. It's not Christian, Bruce. What are these wounds in thine hands? The remnant, tried and refined, shall be his people. Bruce, you just contradicted yourself. You said the Jews, and now you're saying his people, which we all know is the Mormons. Bruce, can you come back from the dead and explain this for us, please? And so verse 6. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thy hands? Question mark. Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Now, if you're wondering about the context, let's go back to verse 2, because there's the parentheses starter. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off, precisely as it stands in our New Testament. That should be a red flag for you guys. Lights flaring, bombs bursting in air, gave truth through the night. Cut off the names of the idols out of the land. The false Christs, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirits to pass out of the land. Which church has the one and only true prophets of the church of Jesus, which is not the Jewish Christ, and thus an idol to the Jews. Jesus is an idol to the Jews, a false Christ to the Jews. You know, the Ten Commandments, those first two, are about false Christs, false idols, pretending to be Christ. It's the Jews. And so the false Christs are anybody that came after the Jews. What came after the Jews? Christians with Jesus. And so the Christian prophets, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and mother that begat him will say unto him, well, it's a good thing that the prophets are so old that their parents are dead. Thus they can't fulfill this prophecy. Thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord. And his father and his mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesieth. However, if it's the true prophet, prophecy fulfilled. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed, every one of his vision. Why didn't you include that one, Bruce? When he hath prophesied. See, for those of you who don't know, Bruce R. McConkie was considered the title prophet of Jesus. When he hath prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. And so, yeah, it's now then talking about, but he shall say, I am no prophet, I am an husbandman, for man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thy hands? And so, in other words, this husbandman who had to work for a living had the gifts, and people recognized it, and people attacked him. And then people say, how did you get these wounds in your hands? These are the wounds with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. He wasn't born as the guy Nobody knew. They're worshiping a false Christ. False prophets were leading them astray. And so when he demonstrates the gifts, when he demonstrates he has the keys, it puts to shame the false prophets with the false Christ. And so he is attacked by his own religion. Prophecy fulfilled. So, in the footnotes for 6, with wounds, we got A and B. And so A is, And so they put the false Christ in here for you. TG, Jesus Christ, crucifixion of. TG, Jesus Christ, mission of. Completely took this out of context. The wounds in his hands is from labor. More like blisters, not nails driven through his hands. I don't see nails here. Blisters. TG, Jesus Christ, second coming. But B only gives us one scripture passage, which is surprising because they could have done the other one in 3rd Nephi. And even in the Gospels, I think when he comes back, the doubting Thomas thing, I think he gets to see the wounds. I'd have to check, but yeah, they have more TGs for you in here. TG, Jesus Christ betrayal of. The wounds with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Remember, this is not Christian Jesus, not literal history. This is prophecy of the latter days of the Jewish Christ, who has the gifts, who has the keys, exposing the fraud of the false Christian religion. So who betrays him? His own religion. Caiaphas orders Jesus' murder, but again, not literal history. Prophecy of the latter days. TG, Jesus Christ, prophecies about. TG, martyrdom. So the only scripture, Doctrine and Covenants 45, 52 to 51 to 53. And so sure enough, in Doctrine and Covenants 45, 52, you see A referring right back to Zechariah 13:6, and then TG, Jesus Christ, mission of. And then they have B, instead of betrayal and such, they have TG, Jesus Christ, appearances post-mortal. And then C, for I am the Son of God, Romans 1:4. It's pretty cheesy. Should we go to that one before we go to DNC 45? And declared to be the Son of God with power, according to the Spirit of holiness, by the resurrection from the dead. Not literal history. Okay. So, we got to go back to the beginning. Got to understand the context. Joseph Smith gives this on March 7th. In the first year of the church. 1831. Oh, Joseph, you brilliant man. And so, hearken. And you guys aren't following me, so you're like, I don't understand. What do you mean? The Mormon Christ, who will be raised up unto Mormons, will be 50 years old in 2020, meaning his birthday is in 1970. And Joseph Smith gave you clues, and you got to go to the law of the Jews regarding false accusations. And so Thomas B. Marsh and others were falsely accused by Brigham Young and the Danites because they falsely accused Joseph Smith to use Joseph Smith's false accusations to falsely accuse others who don't follow the Danites. And so there was a big day of excommunication while Joseph Smith was locked up in Liberty Jail. And by saying Thomas B. Marsh, you already know about that scandal, don't you? And then I talked about Warren Parrish and his scandal just the other day. Yep, 17th of March was the day of punishment for those falsely accused by the false accusers who cooed Joseph Smith's church. And so why did Joseph Smith rush to the Relief Society? To give them priesthood and priesthood office. On what day, women? What do women do that men can't do? Wear pink underwear, obviously. Joseph knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to help those who had ears to hear and eyes to see, and you wouldn't. And so what happened on March 7th, 1970? Let's see if Google can do it with just the date. Because there was a certain sign in the heavens signifying the coming of the Messiah in the latter days. Remember, not literal history. And so, in the search, Google provides the first one, 7 March 1970, Google search, and then March 1970 calendar, and then just March 1970 blank, and then March 1970 eclipse. Sign in the heavens? We have seen his star in the east, and we have come to worship him. His star? What is his star? What is his name? Emmanuel, not Jesus. What does Emmanuel mean? Well, Matthew says God with us. No, it wasn't Matthew. That was some other redactor after the first creed of Christianity who put it in. What did Joseph Smith describe him as? Both the first and the second visions. Yeah, second vision too. The sun at noonday. Lehi, how did he describe him? the sun at noonday. And so in the Book of Mormon at the very beginning, in the language of the Egyptians. So do the Egyptians have a Christ that means sun god at noonday? Well, that would be Amun. Wait a minute, what? Whoa. Phonetically the same as Emmanuel, without the L, because L is God. The god Amun. Huh. That gut Mormon who was panicking, he said that Samson had many concubines. His first wife was murdered. And then Delilah. No polygamy, just 2 failed marriages. Oh my hell, he's just rewriting biblical history. Okay? So yes, you are missing out on prophecy and revelation. And you've missed the latter days now. All you had to do was look for the serpent on a stick, and you couldn't even do it. It was too hard for you. And so he's gone. Bye-bye. I put props in the background for a reason. And nobody bothers to look. Do you not watch The Simpsons? Anybody who watches The Simpsons knows you gotta look in the background. You need to see the full frame. And it even helps to slow down the video to make sure you get it all. All right, section 45. Hearken, O ye people of my church. So, the Jews of the Roman period time? Why are you so insistent that the church not be Jewish? Why? Is it really that devastating to learn that the prophecies and revelations of the Book of Mormon are true? Oh my hell, all you have to do is look for his symbol. It's just unbelievable. You purposely want to suppress knowledge and intelligence. I don't understand that. I was born and raised in the covenant. I wanted intelligence. The light of the body is the eye was my favorite scriptures. The one from Doctrine and Covenants was the favorite of the group because it had extra information in there. Hearken, ye, and give ear to him who laid the foundation of the earth. Genesis chapter 1. I just did the video where I showed you the family tree. And then Genesis 1, Genesis 2, Genesis 3, Genesis 4. And again I say, hearken unto my voice. Who? O ye people of my church. Lest death overtake you. Well, that's pretty extreme. We have to listen to you or we're just going to die? In an hour when ye think not, the summer, we're entering summertime. Summertime. You missed the latter days. The last day of the latter days was this year. Revelation 19, 11 and 17. 8 April 2024. Learning of the Jews. And so now, summertime. Dun 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 dun. What happens after summertime? Oh, fall. What's in the fall? An election. What are we told is going to happen at this election? King Zedekiah is running again for president. They're repeating history from 2020. What happened in 2020? There seemed to be a connection parallel with those of the story of the Exodus of Moses. You know, the symbol of the Jewish Christ. Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. They failed in 2020. And here we go again. This time, they're more extremist. This time, because they didn't get put in prison. 14th Amendment, Section 3. This time, we have Islamic protesters rather than Black Lives Matter protesters. This time, we have cow bird flu rather than creeping death. This time. The summer is past. The harvest is ended. And your soul's not saved. Brilliant mind, and Mormons just denounce it. Bleep you, Joseph, your literal history. We deny the power and authority of prophecy and revelation. Listen to him, who is the advocate with the Father, who is pleading your cause before him. Because you're wicked. And by the blood of Joseph Smith, which was shed for you. The blood of Joseph Smith, who gave us that thyself might be glorified. And you turned him Christian. Hearken, O ye people of my church, and ye elders together. Listen together, and hear my voice while it is called today. And harden not your hearts, and quit calling me Christian. And boom! He now reveals the date this year. Verily I say unto you that I am Alpha and Tau. From Paleo-Hebrew script. The beginning and the end of the latter days. The light and the life of the world, a light that shineth in darkness, and darkness comprehendeth it not, because it's Christian. I came unto the Mormons, and Mormons received me not. But as many as received me, gave I the gifts of translator, prophet, seer, and revelator, that they may be them. Because he grew up wondering, having all these questions, and nobody had the answers, and so he had to become a prophet, a seer, a revelator, and a translator of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian. And because those weren't deciphered yet, he had to decipher them. Yeah, no, the Rosetta Stone was in the learning of the Greeks in the language of the Egyptians. That's as far as Egyptologists know. And so if you go through the facsimiles, especially facsimile number 1, find all of those hieroglyphs in Gardner's sign list. Hey, there's some missing. Egyptologists don't know the learning of the Egyptians and the language of the Egyptians. He will decipher it and do YouTube videos for you so that you may know, and then you will deny him and hurt him, try to murder him, mock him, scold him, call him a sinner, lie in wait to trap him in his sins, use Christian interpretation on him. Wherefore, come ye unto it, and with him that cometh I will reason as with men in days of old. And I will show unto you my strong reasoning. And then, boom, here we go. Wherefore, hearken, and I will reason with you, and I will speak unto you and prophesy. So he's not going to retell the past. That's not prophesying. Prophesying is predicting the future. And so he's not talking about the Jews in the Roman period. He's obviously not talking about Jesus. It's not the Jerusalem temple. And so he's telling you that he's going to use as his template for prophecy of predicting the future the gospel stories. Specifically, when he's talking to his disciples about the signs of his coming in the latter days. Predicting the future of the first coming of the Mormon who will be their Christ. In the day when I shall come in my glory in the clouds of heaven, on 8 April 2024, the sun god at noonday. And it was the most popular news story around the whole world. Never have I ever seen any news story, and granted, back in the 80s and previously, until the invention of the TV, and even before with the radio, we were limited on the number of options for news. And so, yes, with all of our options for news now, this was covered by all of them, all over the world. Thus, it was the most covered news story ever in recorded history. And nobody understood what it meant, because they deny the Jews. because over 4 billion are trying to murder him. And so, let's see what you remember. Verse 18, and now behold, this temple, which is in Jerusalem, you're going to get a big F if you say the temple in Jerusalem. He told you he's going to predict the future. There is no temple in Jerusalem. Which he called the house of God. And your enemies shall say that this house shall never fall. Did you catch that? Joseph, you're awesome. Your enemies shall say that this temple will never fall. The enemies will say this. Not a single one of you, even those expo nevermos, have caught that. It's their temple, the enemy's temple. But behold, I say unto you, the abomination of desolation shall come upon this generation as a thief in the night. And Mormons shall be destroyed and scattered among all nations. When? After this summer, after this harvest, after the election. 3 Nephi chapter 7. And this temple, which temple? The headquarters temple of the enemy. Which enemy? 19 July 1840. Unpublished, because Brigham Young did not approve of it. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. Been doing the videos ever since I found it. Shall be thrown down, that there shall not be left one stone upon another. How many temples are built with stone? Oops, only one. Just one. I did the research trying to find out some years back. Just one. And it's the headquarters temple. Joseph Smith rules. And it shall come to pass that this generation of Jews shall not pass away until every desolation which I have told you concerning them shall come to pass. Ye say that ye know that the end of the world cometh with the election. Ye say also that ye know that the heavens and the earth shall pass away, but you do not understand them. These things that I have told you shall not pass away until all shall be fulfilled. But they shall be gathered again. Who has the keys? Not Not Peter, James, and John. Wrong keys of the gathering. That's the keys of preaching the gospel, not the keys of gathering. Keys of gathering is he who is the president of the church. So it's not Nelson. He doesn't claim the keys of gathering as the president of the church. He claims Peter's keys to preach. He even did a Photoshop at the Vatican Temple to demonstrate that that's what he means. He denies the keys of the president of the church of Joseph Smith, which is Moses. Kirtland Temple, section 110, the Jewish Christ. And so, yeah, I've fallen prey to this, verse 26. But in that day shall be heard wars and rumors of wars, and the whole earth shall be in commotion, and men's hearts shall fail them, and they shall say that Christ delayeth his coming until the end of the earth. And so no, I don't say that Christ delays his coming. I've mocked Jesus for not showing. The Jewish Christ came. That's not what I'm concerned about. It's that the fulfillment. I have told you that the things which I have told you shall not pass away until all shall be fulfilled. We're into overtime now. That's where I'm concerned. There is no Zion. That's where I'm concerned. Mormons don't believe. That's where I'm concerned. I've done all the videos all these years showing you that they're being fulfilled, and you don't believe. Your hearts are hardened. And so the love of man shall wax cold. Yeah. And iniquity shall abound. Yeah. And then, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if this is going to happen soon. 31. And there shall be men standing in that generation that shall not pass away until they shall see an overflowing scourge, for a desolating sickness shall cover the land. But my disciples shall stand in holy places and shall not be moved, but among the wicked, Mormons will lift up their voices and curse Jesus and die. Get down with the sickness. Earthquakes, desolations, yet still hardening your hearts against the true Christ. And they will take up sword and murder their husbands and beat their kids, their 8 passengers, and consider their kids zombies. And rape little girls, kidnap them, take them to California, and then be dumb enough to come back to Utah. And so, Mormons are troubled. Be not troubled. Look ye and behold the fig trees, and ye see them with your eyes, and ye say, when they begin to shoot forth, and their leaves are yet tender, the summer is now nigh at hand. Even so it shall be in that day when they shall see all these things. Then shall they know that the hour is nigh. Not of his coming, he's already come. It's destruction. And it shall come to pass that nobody shall fear him, and thus nobody is looking for the great day of the Lord to come, not even for the signs of the coming of the Son of Man, which are right there in Revelation. Because you're looking for Jesus, and no man knows the day or the hour, so you're not looking for the great day. And you're not looking for signs and wonders in the heavens. And the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. And Mormons shall be gathered unto Zion. 8 April 2024. And then cut off for those who don't watch, precisely as it stands in our New Testament. And here we go to we're getting closer to verse 52 for you. Had to set it all up, had to keep the context so that you would know and understand what it meant and why Bruce R. McConkie is leading you astray. For the arm of the Lord shall fall upon all the nations. And then, on 6th of June, 2022, your Christ will set his foot upon Mount Olympus. Remember, it's not Jerusalem. And it shall cleave in twain, and the earth shall tremble and reel to and fro, and the heavens also shall shake. And the Lord shall utter his voice on YouTube, and he will be censored by AI for violating Mormon community standards and values. And all the ends of the earth shall hear it, or at least have the option of hearing it. And the nations of the earth shall mourn. And Mormons who have laughed at him shall see their folly. And calamity shall cover the Mormons who mock him. And Mormons who scorn him shall be consumed. And Mormons that have watched to accuse him falsely of iniquity shall be hewn down and cast into the fire of the abomination of desolation. And then shall the Mormons look upon their Christ and say, what are these wounds? I don't see nails. Nails, therefore, are symbols of the prophecy. What are these wounds in thy hands? And Joseph Smith is adding to the prophecy, in thy feet. Blisters on his hands and on his feet, stepping on Mount Olympus. June 6, 2022. Then shall Mormons know who their Christ is, and he will say unto them, these wounds are the wounds with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. I am he who is the sun god at noonday. And I'm going to weep instead. Then Mormons shall weep because of their iniquities. Who's going to weep? Only those who believe the truth. The denialists and the liars for Jesus will all be utterly destroyed. consumed, cast into the fire. Because only the righteous will listen to him and go with him to build Zion. Then shall Mormons lament because they persecuted their Christ. And then the parable of 10 virgins is being referred to. This is what it meant. President Russell Marion Nelson shall be bound, that he shall have no place in the hearts of Mormons. Okay. So, I came across some interesting stuff in the news here in Utah. I'm checking the news every day. And so, yes, yesterday I was inspired, therefore, to refresh my memory on Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan, because of what I was hearing in the news and what I was doing in research on the subject matter. And so, Dante's Peak is about a sinful couple who are boiled to death. We're trying to get a little nookie. Abstinence only. No sex ed. Even that Mormon in a panic caught himself in his own contradiction about sex ed. He calls it, they're following the law of chastity, and yeah, we don't teach sex ed. We follow the law of chastity. And so, yeah, it was amusing to see that the mayor of Terminator Town, Linda Hamilton, was in Terminator. Thus, Terminator. Is that in my pictures? And the CEO Corp that was there to try to make a business deal with the town to bring in business so he can make more money. Yeah, he's also trying to use sexual influence on her to make the deal. He wants to date her while he's there, while they're in the process of making a deal. He wants to date her. He wants to hug her. He wants to kiss her. From Sandra Bullock, as she's a beauty contestant, Miss Congeniality. That's it. You want to hug me. You want to kiss me. And so, yeah, you see him getting jealous when she's hanging out with Pierce Brosnan. And so, yeah, it's exactly as a typical man would be when he realizes she will not commit to him in this sextortion that he was trying to pull on her to get the town, the business, from his company. As the talk of the potential for the blowing up of the volcano, as Pierce Brosnan is right next to her there up on the stand. And so the guy says, that's it, I'm out. And then, boom, everything hits the fan, and then he dies in the helicopter with the other town council member. grandma is jealous of her daughter-in-law, who's free to date other people now because daddy is dead, her husband is dead, and son is dead. But nonetheless, grandma doesn't like her dating other men. And so she purposely goes to the spot where the couple were boiled to death for nookie. But some of the other things in there, the dead trees, the water pH, the small dead animals, the boiling hot springs, earthquakes, and the sulfur smell. Those are all indicators of some problems in the earth that are coming. They are the warning signs, and we need to have people in the field investigating this, and they're not. And so, do I have this, or do we go to the pictures? Yeah, okay. Lick it up, lick it up. LDS eat, drink, and get plural married, for tomorrow they're utterly destroyed. I couldn't believe he doesn't obey Nelson. He ordered you to practice polygamy. And he's saying, you're talking about the FLDS church. We don't do it. Yeah, you're wicked. You're going to be destroyed by this church for being wicked and not practicing polygamy with 11-year-old girls now. You're not listening. Okay, so let's go through the pictures. I used the one as another, I think I used it as the thumbnail picture to give you a heads up on this video, as we're already over an hour. Oh crap. Crap. Okay, that's the wrong water system. That was like Louisiana or something. All right. So I found on Google search the Deseret News covering it and KSL.com covering it, and AI overview. I can't even trust this then. Anyway, it said, according to a 2013 article, the chance of a supervolcano erupting again in western Utah. Wrong location. Likelihood of new volcano in Utah. So, okay, fine, whatever. I deserve it for being too general. Is very small due to the changes in geologic conditions. However, University of Utah researchers say that central Utah's volcanoes are still active. Not southern, not northern, not the Salt Lake Valley Mountains. And that an unusual sequence of earthquakes in 2018 and 2019 is a reminder of this. And that's why they were talking about central Utah's volcanoes. But remember, we had a volcano in Magna. When? The day after whose birthday? What year? So yeah, it was millions of years ago when a supervolcano has been hidden in plain sight in Utah for millions of years. BYU, BS, PhDs, researchers say. Let's see. Yeah, 30 million years ago was when they were active here in the valley. a 5,500 cubic kilometers of magma erupted near Wawa Springs. Okay. And then on January 29th, 1989, I was given this tip. Wasatch Plateau, Utah, a 5.4 struck southern Wasatch Plateau, 15 miles east of Salina, Sevier County, Utah. That's in central Utah, at the east of the I-70 where the active volcano thing was talking about. And then there's the one in 2020. Just as it is in the Exodus story. There's hate comments, and there's the guy who worships Trump. Very concerned. There's the State Department video that I have yet to do. There's the Mormon rapist and murderer, serial rapist and murderer. Alright. Oh yeah, I was meant to... this is for James and Jasmine. When I was checking on Stay in the Boat and Hold On, one of the quotes in that video clip that I didn't put in the video, in the talk, is that Joseph Smith taught this central truth. Quote, remember, the fundamental principles of our religion are the testimony of the apostles and prophets concerning Jesus Christ, that he died, was buried, and rose again the third day and ascended. Nelson, why do you never say that Jesus ascended? What's up with that? Into heaven, and all other things are only appendages to these, which pertain to our religion. And so I checked the reference. Joseph Smith, Elders Journal, July 1838. Oh my God! Hilarious. There's the other quick video I haven't done about Mormons in southern Utah being tested for their obedience to the word of wisdom with nuclear radiation fallout. Wait a minute. That's it? Where's the... So I guess I didn't. Or are they in my pictures? There we go. There was one of them that was Mill Creek. I was checking Google Maps for Mill Creek, and then boom, Mount Olympus. In Mill Creek, in the news the other day, was a news story by, it was KSL, wasn't it? Yep, KSL. So yeah, you got the one lady who's wearing the purple dress. Very nice. Very prim and proper. And she's going mild on the shoulder pads. She often wears extreme shoulder pads. It's a fashion. It used to be a thing. And then the guy, I caught him just in time to look all serious. Yeah. As the dead squirrel is on the screen behind them. They were reporting, and they're the only ones in Utah reporting this. That's why it's so important for me to make sure I'm checking all the Utah news. Because they don't see the bigger picture of this. I do because of my associative memory, having watched Dante's Peak. I catch on to this. We have had news stories about smells, and I caught it in Mill Creek. There's sulfur smells in Mill Creek. And they couldn't answer it. As they were saying, well, it may be a trash dump, but they never confirmed. They just threw it out there. You need professional scientists in the field, out in the field, checking this. And they won't do it. That's why this is so disturbing. Now we have dead squirrels and foxes. These are the little animals that are closer to the ground. We have dead trees out in that area. It's right there on the mountainside. There are lots of dead trees. We have sulfur smell. Small animals dying. They don't know why. They, again, speculate for news that there's some kind of shared poison. But they don't know. They didn't do autopsies on the animals. Again, this is speculative news. You got to look beyond the speculation. And notice the facts. The facts are small animals are dying in Mill Creek. There are reported smells in Mill Creek. There are dead trees in Mill Creek. What else did we say that we're supposed to have? And so nobody's checking the pH levels of the water. We don't have hot springs up in that area. Earthquakes, not there. But again, I don't know about the fault line, how far down it goes, but definitely in other locations. But it's right there on a fault line because of the mountains. When you have mountains, you have fault lines automatically. And so, what did Joseph Smith prophesy? A mount in Utah where the enemy's temple is will experience a great earthquake. It'll be the same mountain where your Christ Mormons will put his foot on the mountains and have them blistered along with his hands. The summer is nigh, then cometh the fall and the harvest, and then the election of Zedekiah versus Pehoran. Who's instead encouraging the kingmen. Oh my hell. Did nobody tell him he's supposed to side with Captain Moroni? So yeah, this is very concerning, Mormons. And you're not putting the pieces of the puzzle together because you have been deceived. And since I'm the only one who knows about it, I'm the only one who can do the video on it. Alrighty, so that's it. Are you scared yet? You wetting yourself? No? You at least crying? No?